In a rapidly shifting society, now more than ever, it is essential to stay grounded. Balance is key, but harmony is better. Here, we provide the keys to tap into the divine masculine without sacrificing the divine feminine, because confusion not transmuted becomes confusion transferred.
This is Divine Masculine Activated, a weekly Tuesday evening tap-in brought to you by Mastermind Connect and curated by the good brothers J.D. Weatherspoon and Courtney Grange. We invite you to grab your activation method of choice, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and bring your whole self into this space.
Yes, y'all, to the beat, y'all.
That never gets old. That feels so wavy. Like I feel like I stepped out the shower and I got a towel around my head.
Yeah, but one of them nice little linen joints, real soft cotton or real soft
Egyptian cotton. You know what I mean?
Nothing too stressful. The hair
like
be soft.
A long day of petting, right? Like
long day of petting.
Long day of petting. My feet are swollen.
Oh, man. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Divine Masculine Activated. I am Courtney Grange. He is
your groovy Geechee cousin J.D. Weatherspoon.
And tonight we are blessed, honored, and privileged to kick off to y'all an amazing episode in our the first part in our 4-part series in My Sister's Keeper. But as always, just so you all remember why we are here, who we are, and what we do, we're going to kick it off with the definition. JD, what is divine masculinity?
That part. Divine masculinity is the ability to activate masculine energy without sacrificing your feminine energy, because two things can exist at the same time, and they usually do. Why do you ask?
That's called polarity, by the way. We talked about that a while back. If you missed it, go check it out. But why do we do this, right? We come together because our nurturing as men has taught us that anything feminine is reserved for women, and that masculinity is usually about like what's hard, forceful, or choosing logic over empathy. But we created DMA to unpack that. Say fuck that. It's like, no, I'm just playing.
No,
we created DMA.
Right. You had it right.
I'm right, but yeah, keep it back into the container, because we got to set that first. But we created DMA to unpack what we've been taught about masculinity and reshape what we've been taught about femininity. And good brother, this My Sister's Keeper series that we're doing, why for aren't we doing it?
Why for are we doing it? All right, well, what benefit is, number one, is absolutely necessary. Number two, like hella dope ass. Like, it's not even funny. Like, you wouldn't believe us if we told you that we knew a lot. So we didn't say it. We just decided to show y'all. But to provide context, last season, we set the foundation, right? We opened up the conversation about being our sisters' keepers. That's season 1. Feel free to go check that. Also on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe. But we did a live discussion curtailing the importance of like platonic yet intimate relationships between men and women and the collective benefits that it provides to both of us, right? And that's at personal, intrapersonal, and societal levels. This season, though, we're going to push that envelope a little bit further by creating an entire segment, right? And this is going to be multiple episodes that highlight specifically some of the divine feminine archetypes in our lives, what they do, and how it benefits us all. And then guess what? By the time we're done, you're going to know them too.
So lovely, don't you agree?
Right.
But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we would like to welcome the fabulous, the divine, Miss Toni Jones.
She's your queen.
Toni.
Y'all are close.
Welcome, Toni. Welcome. How you doing?
I am wonderful. How y'all doing?
We good. So for the good people out there, let me just go ahead and read them who you are real quick.
Okay.
Just so we can, again, set the right container for y'all. But Toni Jones has served as a well-being advocate for women. She has found creative ways to promote the message of conscious well-being and mental health. She hopes to inspire women to become more conscious about their well-being in a culture that drowns women's entrepreneurship and empowerment with workaholism. Talk about it.
Yeah.
One way that she creates to promote this message is through music. On March 19th, 2019, during Women's History Month, she launched Affirmations for the Grown Ass Woman. And then not too later on last year, May 28th, 2020, during Mental Health Awareness Month, she launched her EP, Affirmations and Chill, for everyone's inspiration to be more well during the COVID time period, which brings us to the most recent body of work. My favorite, many people's favorite, I See Me mantras. Miss Toni Jones.
Hi.
Let's start with, first of all, let's start at the beginning. What's up, friend?
What's up, friend?
How you been?
I've been amazing. I have been amazing. So grateful.
This is so precious.
Listen, man. Y'all gotta understand, Toni and I, 2015.
Yeah,
it was one of them earlier teen years of these 2019s and 2020s. But worked together at an organization doing world-changing type work. Both had a spirit for trying to change the world. I was in DC, Toni was in Detroit. We met at like one of the first conventions that we had, and now we're like both here.
I know.
So they know me, they know JD. Can you tell us who is Toni Jones, this affirmation music goddess, artist, mantra speaking divine mama badass? Like, who is you, baby?
Who am I? I am a member of the human family, and I feel like part of my job in this family is to love myself, like to have a radical relationship with myself. And by doing that, it just duplicates into the rest of the family, whoever it resonates with, I'm a child at heart. I'm an Aries woman. I love being a human being. I love being a woman. I'm such I say I'm like my own personal groupie because I love the embodiment of the type of woman that I get to be, I'm a dork. I love all things neuroscience. I go into rabbit holes, and I'm really impressed how far I can go into rabbit holes about anything, and I just come back with carrots. I'm just like, yeah, like I'm not crazy. So that's like a little synopsis of who I am. I've only been in the music space for a good 2 years almost, and yeah, that's a little bit of who I am. Aries rule the world. Yeah.
We're not gonna hold you.
Yo, mom passed.
We're not gonna hold you. Oh man, but yeah, as always, thank you, Toni. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate you opening the space for us in that way, letting us know a little bit about you. Good brother, I think we should pay some homage and tribute to our audience right now, as always.
Absolutely. I see Camille in the building, Dog
Hey,
in here.
What's going
Candy
on?
in here, indeed, and may the fourth be with you as well.
Hey, everybody.
Even though this is totally Star Trek, but that's fine. I'm gonna roll with it. Let me see. Denise up in the building. TK and Ibby. Salam.
Yeah.
What's up,
it's about so far.
Yeah. People, to get us started, let us know that you are in the building. Drop us an emoji of how you are feeling right now. If you haven't listened to affirmation music, go ahead and do that. Put that on in the background. Let that be your background sounds while you're in this episode. And drop us emojis whenever you can to let us know. In addition, of course, as always, if you would like to ask a question, feel free to come through. We want you to ask us questions. We want you to talk to us. So drop a comment, drop a question. We will take it live to the flow.
As we do. So with this being said, now that we here, we got our cons established, we got our container, we got our content, the lovely Toni, and we got our context. We know what we here for.
Yeah.
So let's say we do what we got here to do, right?
With it.
Toni.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm on cloud 9, honestly.
you sound and look like it. Like you're like radiating tranquility. It's actually pretty lit. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So for where do we want to start? At the beginning, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
so I may or may not have done some rabbit holing towards you and come up with a few of my own carrots.
That's only fine. Yeah.
Totally fine. So I'm gonna do a direct quote, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I began being curious about my decision, my existence, and how I can heal. Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I can heal myself while getting work done. Radical awareness spread into my life like wildfire, and I discovered what I needed to live a lifestyle of self care versus burning myself out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is this what inspired you to create the idea of wifing your life?
Partly. I was raised to be a wife. My dream was to be a wife. And what's so funny, y'all, is my mom used to put me in pageants because music was never a dream. It was never idea or concept. When she used to put me in pageants as a young girl, my talent was always reciting Proverbs 31 over music. So no matter what talent show I was in, what pageant, because I loved Proverbs 31. And I love the concept.
If you don't know what a P31 is, what that means? What's a proverb?
Proverbs 31 is a Hebrew book. Proverbs is a Hebrew book in the Bible that it's a book of wisdoms. Proverbs is just a book of wisdoms and just life lessons and philosophies. And so it's scripture. So Proverbs 31 is basically King Solomon's mother instructing her basically how to move like a king, and it goes into talking about the Proverbs 31, what we call the Proverbs 31 woman, but it's really the virtuous woman. Mm-hmm. And I just fell in love with the idea that she was able to dabble into the community, dabble into waking up early and preparing for her family. She was able to go to the market and negotiate costs. And, she was just like, she just moved fluidly. And I was just like, don't want to be her. And so I had this, it matched with the American program of like, I have to be chosen, I have to be married, combining that, religious narrative and social cultural narrative. My obsession, was to be a wife. And so when I got married, it lasted for 8 years. And after my divorce, I walked into a society that glorified the independent woman. So I tried to figure out how to be an independent woman. And I kind of figured it out, sort of, kind of. But what led me to start Wife Your Life was that background story of being someone else's wife. And I was like, dang, what would it look like if I became my own wife to myself? Like my finances, my trauma, my emotional habits, my thought pathologies, how I take care of my body, and what brings me joy. Because I realized I spent so much time investing in making relationships with other people work. And I was like, dang, I haven't really, been intentional about my relationship with myself. But no one gives you a manual or blueprint about that. So I was just winging it. And so when I created Wife Your Life, it was another name for it too, but Wife Your Life was really the hashtag. So I just recently changed that last January to Wife Your Life, but it used to be called Wife, and it stood for womanhood and full empowerment and more. And so it was just basically teaching women how to wife their life through well-being, to heal from workaholism so they can be in a grounded state as they move and shake, but also be wild and free in their creativity. And you know what I'm saying? And so, so that's what I did. And I started creating events and things of that nature. But the Wife Your Life concept comes from a little bit of my story, my academic background in psychology, because I really believe in teaching women, if I teach women how their brains work, they will understand how to hack those emotional patterns and those thought pathologies that keep them on a loop for decades. You know what I'm
Come
saying?
on now.
I
Can you
thought,
just repeat that one more time?
Yes,
Back to
please.
the brain part and the loop. Let's say it one more again, please.
no, I said that the combination of Wife Your Life's brainchild is a bit of my story of wanting to be a wife. You know, the self-care, self-love story of me transitioning from being someone else's wife and being my own wife in my life. And then the combination of my academic background in psychology, because I believe that if I could infuse that academics into my business and teaching women and educating women, I could help them hack their emotional patterns, their thought pathologies, so they're not on that loop like decades. Because I know what that feels like. It's like, I'm doing it again. I'm here again. I thought I healed from that. Why am I like this? And it's like, you just don't understand why you can't break free. You're doing all of these formulas. You're reading all of these books. You just don't see any progress. You find yourself in the same wound, the same belief. And so I believe that when you learn, like just like the philosophers and ancient gurus, and you know what I'm saying, they always know thyself, know thyself. Part of knowing yourself is knowing your design. And so knowing your design means that you got a little bit of instruction manual on how to navigate your technology a little bit better, your technology of thinking, feeling, and speaking. So I said a lot.
Yeah, but you kept us on point with it. Like
Yeah.
for me, that takes me back to the parts that I read on your bio and then listen to the music about conscious well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's different from like self-care or like looking to be more independent in taking care of yourself. Conscious well-being accepts the reality that you can't take care of yourself alone. Right. It's
Say that
going
one
to take
twice. You gotta let that breathe.
conscious well-being is accepting the reality that you cannot take care of yourself alone.
Yeah.
You don't have everything that you need, even though you are everything you're supposed to be. Right. So in that one, and to get another quote from one of your songs, and this is probably one of my favorite songs, y'all. If y'all have not listened to Kiss Me, love it. But it says, the future is not female, it's union. No polarity in balance between masculine and feminine. Of course, y'all know here we always talk about that balance, the polarities of masculine and feminine energy. And Toni, I know something. I know that that's something that's also important for you in terms of understanding that space of the balance that you have to be in order to attract the equal and opposite balance for y'all both to have harmony, right?
Yes.
So could you talk to us a little bit about like what does masculine and feminine harmony or balance, so to speak? So from the personal perspective, what does that balance for you look like? And how do you help women understand that space?
Yeah, whenever I talk about masculine, feminine, I'm always surprised I don't have a textbook answer. It's just like kind of like it's a combination of just all of these concepts, I guess. But the way that I teach masculine, or way that I understand masculine and femininity, is masculine is like this container. It's like security. It's safe. It's resourceful. You know, femininity is more wild, emotional, and creative. You know, it's definitely wild. And so, you know how with water, like it's in a river, it's in an ocean. It's not every day where this ocean is going to splash in, you know, from Florida to Detroit. Like it's not going to go crazy and wild because it has a natural parameter of where, you know what I'm saying? Like when you think about,
There's a shoreline.
huh?
There's a shoreline.
It's a shoreline. And I think that's so fascinating because the water is able to do what it wants to do, but there's still this thing that holds it in place. So when I think about femininity and masculinity, I always think about the land and the water and the rocks and how it's just this structure to wildness. You know what I'm saying? So both of those things, when they're in union, there's something magical that can happen, which is duplication, multiplication of life, you know? And so I mean, I said it in a philosophical way, but ultimately it can look like, for me, it looks like in work and business, when I know I have to be at my laptop for 6 hours, focus, no distraction, I got to get this work done on my laptop. I make sure there's candles. I make sure I'm looking and feeling good. Like I'm not wearing nothing too tight and uncomfortable. I make sure there's flowers, there's some sound, there's some incense. I make sure that my space feels soft, because I know I'm about to be focused. I'm about to get this in because I got to get this done, and I don't like to force and push myself to get it done and just be at the desk neck like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I want
Now
to,
you're all crabby,
yeah,
you
I want
talking to people crazy. Yeah.
absolutely. And I want to feel soft. I want to give myself the space like, okay, I've been doing this for 2.5 hours. Do I need to go outside for a minute? Do I need to, do I need to go make me some tea? Do I need to like watch an episode of my favorite show real quick? Do I need to laugh? Do I need to get on Instagram and just play a little bit before I go back to, you know what I'm saying? I give myself space. Fluid between both of those energies, because I'm more prone to be in my feminine, where I'm wild and I'm like, screw the responsibilities, like, whatever. Like I'm about to just YOLO,
But that's back to your shoreline comment too, right? Because if not for the shore, the ocean would just be all over the place.
So that's the way, practically speaking, the way that I understand it, the way that I try to translate that to women is like, because women are working like never before. So it's like, okay, you can work. It's about how you do it, how you feel when you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because that way you can be in tune with your body, while you're getting what you need to get done, so both can exist,
So you actually answered another question that I had, which was how do you use, your intentional harmony to maintain that, homeostasis of wife in your life? You pretty much gave the formula right there.
Yeah.
It is.
I just did that. What's today? Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was Monday. Sunday, it was either yesterday or Sunday. I just did that because what me and my producer are creating, it's just unreal. I can't believe that we get to create this. So that excitement about creating, I want to just dive into it and give my all to it. But I got to correspond emails. I got to hold space for my membership space and make sure that the content for the class is completed. You know what I'm saying? My bills are paid. I'm made my dentist appointment. So I have to ground myself in sometimes the mundane so I can give full presence and space to this wildfire of creativity that I just want to just throw myself in, but so it's like that just happened. Like, I think it was on Sunday or Monday. I told my producer, I was like, listen, we going to spend time in, Tuesday morning all throughout the day in the studio. But today I need to just get to what I need to get to. I need to ground myself because I'm feeling wild. I feel like I don't want to eat. I just want to go in the studio and just go crazy. Like, so.
I dig it. Before we push too far ahead, I know we a question popped up here from YouTube we want to bring to you.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Prince.
Yeah. Boom. So this is kind of going back a little bit, but that being the case, why is there so much pushback to those identities? Being able to admit those attributes for me is the beginning of healing.
Oh my God. I mean, I guess branding, the brand. Yeah, the branding, the marketing, the messaging that shapes popular opinion is real and it's on repeat all the time, and so there's a concept in psychology called groupthink, and we'll follow the group just not to be outside or be too different, to not be a part of community. Like, we avoid that feeling of being on our own. So we'll just go ahead and go with the flow. If all the women are saying, we don't need men, da 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 da, we're going to hop on every movement that talks about empowering women, no matter what. We're not going to question it. We're not going to second guess it because all the women are on it. Whereas for me, I was kind of naturally born to be culturally, countercultural. So it's like, I'm going to question it. Like, I'm not going to hop on every movement for women. I'm not going to hop on every movement for Black people. I'm going to question everything. This what everybody hating? Okay. Why everybody hating it? I'm going to question. And it doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion, but before it's shaped, I'm going to take a step back and examine my own thinking about, you know what I'm saying? Because I know enough to know that being an independent mind is first top priority for my mental health, And so when it comes to those attributes of femininity and masculinity, we have to first look at what branded what was masculine, what branded what was feminine, and then put our own constructive criticism, analyzing conversations, do a little research online, have some conversations to kind of like unlearn that, if you will, wherever you feel is true to unlearn. So the resistance is more so a neurological thing of all these years of branding, all these years of programming, all these years of marketing to your brain to understand what a boy is, what a girl is, what femininity and masculinity is. And anything that comes against that neurologically, the mind's neurons fight against that. So in order
that's what you've been nurtured to.
Yes, in order for you to hack that thought pathology that's been built up and got all that nourishment over the years, you're going to have to create a whole new thought,
whole new space,
new container. That's old Tupperware. You got to get rid of it.
You got to create a whole new container for that. Yeah. But thank you for that question, Prince Davis, for bringing that to the space. We do appreciate you. JD, good brother, where we at? Where we going now?
Where we going now? Well, I mean, like, we can flip it to the audience piece. We got some time. I know.
Ta-da.
Yeah, like Camille definitely got some mana off that. Irene definitely, but and then even Denise, you know what I'm saying? In terms of you question if certain movements resonate with her, and that goes back to that whole idea of like, is it wrong or do I just not like it? I'm not against it. It just don't work for me, so I'm gonna go step over that way. But I'm not gonna tell you how to be. You be great. Yeah. We just not gonna be in the same place at the same time.
Absolutely.
Well, I would say, if anything, for the audience, like sourcing it out, getting that wisdom of the crowd as opposed to the groupthink. What does conscious well-being mean to y'all? Like, what's conscious well-being? And me taking it a step further, like, how do you actively engage in that?
That's real. That's real. Good brother, why don't you tell us while they're typing what that means for you? What does conscious well-being mean for you?
Oh man. For me, it starts with presence. I have a tendency. I was blessed and or cursed, depending on how you want to look at it, with a pretty acute memory. So it's, if I don't check myself, it's easy for me to let my memory govern my perception. And so it's remembering, like, for me, being conscientious of the stories that I tell myself, because like all of us have mental chatter and we don't realize, like, the things that we parrot off to people and even stuff that we're actively engaged in. You may not even believe it, but that's what you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
And for most people, like myself included, there'll be times where if you're not paying attention, you think and your mouth moves. So for me, it's just taking the time and creating the space to sit with myself, to know where the fuck I actually am. Like, all right, my body's here. Where am I? Where am I? Are we also here? Because if all of us ain't here, we're about to make a mess, and that's going to create work later, which leads to more problems. How I engage with that, that's, me, my morning rituals. I got to start the day off right. Otherwise, by 2, I'm helter-skelter, and I get to this point where I'm just like pushing to get stuff out the way. So I regain the tranquility I did not set up for myself in the morning, which usually makes more work. So,
yeah. What's funny?
Just being mindful and present, and then remembering not to take this shit too seriously.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation. Nah, we only here for a time anyway.
Exactly.
Right. So we're supposed to do a job, but when it's done, it's done. When it's right, it's right. And when it's not, it's still going to get done. But it's funny. I've had to step more into conscious well-being for me is about letting go of the things that I told myself I had to do this way. Right. And so like having time to just be more free spirited. And this for me just coming from a perspective of like a parent, when there's so much that just does this every single week, because that level of consistency and structure is so important for a child. You can kind of get lost in, oh, I'm supposed to not plan the next 5 things that are going to occur, right? Like I got to just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
And let that be, or not be the person that's creating the flow all the time, because I'm so dead set on making people feel safe.
Yeah.
Right. So conscious well-being is that opportunity for me to more so let go and understand that like I've put myself here for a reason. And so this space is already safe because of that. And if I'm choosing to be in that space of like letting it go, then I'm also allowing myself to surrender that right now may not be my responsibility to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
You know, because that's back to the point you were saying earlier, where like your perception of yourself, or you even talk about it in one of the songs where you get into letting go of people's perception of you, especially people that you care about deeply. Right. And that one can be tough.
Very.
Yeah. So we got a question here, and I think this will line us up really quick. But Camille brought this one in. How do you go about reprogramming yourself at the beginning of this? How did you go about reprogramming yourself at the beginning of this journey of balance and empowerment / wifey to yourself? And then the follow up also, how do you set your compass at the beginning of the day? Good stuff.
Okay. Thank you for that question. So it's interesting because I look back at that process, and I hesitate to share it as though it's a recipe. Because if I look back at it, I'm like, man, I would have done this differently. But I was such a newbie in the game of consciousness, to where I just fed myself new knowledge. I had so much knowledge on how women should be. I have so much knowledge of my pain, my hurt, how I move in relationships, how I move with money, that was what my memory was. As you say, my memory was governing my perception. And so and what I was learning from my academics was how my brain worked. So I knew in order for me to hack my neurological pathway that's been getting all this content over the years, I had to create a whole new thought. So if I created a whole new thought, the only way that I can counter that old mindset was give it that same type of energy, that repetitive energy. Because the old mindset is getting advertisement, it's getting social conditioning, and it's coming at you every way: radio, TV, magazines, social media. So I had to do this thing. I had to flip the script. So in the beginning, it was like I got rid of TV. It was my vision board that I was watching, that I was looking at every day. I was listening to Les Brown, YouTube. Like, I was just like, because I was so committed to be like I gotta hack this hoe. Like, she cannot repeat in my bloodline. I have to rescue my daughters from what no one thought to rescue me from. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I was obsessed. I was like, yeah, I'm in this. I was like I was eating meat. Like, I was like, I have to become this woman I see that's haunting me. And in order for me to do that, I fed myself knowledge. There's a scripture in the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So for me, it was like, I gotta know. Like, I want to know where is the meat at? So that was the beginning of it. But I think her question was, how do I set the compass for the beginning of the day? So I used to have like a ABC thing. Like, okay, I journal, I pray, I meditate, but now it's more intuitively guided. Like, I don't follow a formula or a ritual because I get bored, So it's like, for me, I wake up and I'm just like, how do I want to devote myself to my day? How do I want to feel? What's my emotional goal? And I sit there in bed, like, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do a little stretch, and I want to do a little yoga today. I want to journal today. Sometimes it's like, let me clean my room. Like, let me just light some candles. Let me clean my room, bring some order to my space. Like, you know what I'm saying? Things that I've been procrastinating on, I'll do early in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my devotion. It's intuitively guided. Like, because once I start saying, I gotta journal, I gotta meditate, like, then it
It's
becomes
not pure
a job.
anymore. It becomes an
It becomes,
obligation, and the spirit you hate it now. Like,
I
I don't
hate
want
it.
to do funky ass shit.
I've done it.
Listen,
And
Tony,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you've ever been to West Africa, but if you go, be very careful. You are probably going to get marriage proposals left and right because
They already in the inbox. Quit playing.
yo, the way your form and function is set up, from my history of those areas and how they operate,
Yeah.
that's the whole space. Like, women have a lot of restrictions in some ways because of patriarchy and things that have put, those structures in place. But when you get into the family structures, women have most of the free reign in terms of like what is going to be the structure of the day,
Yeah.
because their remit is one, nutrition for the most part, right? So what we eating is based on what she say we eating.
Period.
What we're doing is based on who she say coming over today, how this finna happen. And so that,
I love that shit. Well, go
yeah,
ahead.
I could tell. I'm like,
Yeah,
yo,
exactly.
you gonna keep it real interesting.
Yeah, like, you set the tone for the home, and I was raised to be excited about that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, mama wake up, the woman wake up. It's like,
Everybody up.
it's very good. It's very good. Like, let me make sure he good before he go out. Like, are my kids good? Like, I'm not a mom or a wife, but it's just like, that is like so lit to me that a woman do that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just agreeing with you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, you ain't got to apologize for nothing. You ain't did nothing wrong.
I saw a comment. Right. Okay. Shanika.
She's agreeing with you too. Yeah. So we got a little serious. We got a little deep.
Okay.
I think we can stay there, but we can have a little fun now too.
Okay. What we about to talk about? Say.
We finna take the polls.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't yet, we do have a Divine Masculine Activated private group on Facebook. It is designed to take this conversation and your comments further, so you can just get in, have a safe space, have a good container to get into conversations like this more fully. We had a poll earlier this week.
Okay.
And we wanted to know about two of your songs, like kind of
earlier this week, Negro. It was yesterday. Can we be clear? It was yesterday.
Okay. Two of your songs kind of head to head, which one people wanted to know more about. And it was Vitamin and then F-Boy Energy. Vitamin and versus F-Boy Energy is
Tool of Enlightenment.
Is Tools of Enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
And by far and away, not by far and away, but Vitamin won. Like, that's what people wanted to hear about, other than like Sequoia, who came in with like empowerment budget and just completely was like, option C, energy budget. I just want the other one. But that song, and I guess in order to get to Vitamin, I think we do have to start with F-Boy Energy is Tools of Enlightenment. Because that's
F-Boys are tools of enlightenment.
F-Boys are tools of enlightenment. Because that song, when I heard it, like when I saw the title, I gotta admit, like I was a bit triggered. It was like, oh, word. All right, Tony, what you about to say now? Let's sit up straight. And then as soon as I did, it was like, thank you for this song, because it wasn't about us. For the first time, it talked, for me at least, it talked about that whole structure of like, what is an F-boy? How does it operate? But it didn't talk about what the men are doing. It talked about what the women need to do to make an F-boy a tool of enlightenment, right?
Yeah.
And so let's start there. Like, where did that song even come from for you?
Did I tell you his name? No, I'm playing.
Just put it in the chat. Just put it in the chat.
Drop it.
Just put it in the chat.
I mean, just making choices, being a woman, making choices, just being thirsty, myself in a man's life, trying to figure out ways to like get him to choose me without being direct, and so I found myself in situations, emphasizing situations, where I repeated that loop of love looks like me being ignored. Love looks like a man not being present with me. Love looks like me trying to get his attention, because that's what my first module was. Whatever the men in my life early on did was enough. That little, I was never daddy's little girl, and so it was just kind of like that was my understanding of love. So subconsciously, that's what I protected. That's what I made choices to get more evidence of, like, this is what love is. This is what I deserve. Like, little to nothing. Like, how could I actually have someone love me and be just as crazy about, me that I am? You know what I'm saying? So F Boys Are Tools of Enlightenment was me being able to say, okay, I can't say the same thing I said about him and him and him. I'm the common denominator. So let me figure out how I am manifesting the same situation with different men, and I'm telling you, that was hell, because there's a grip in a woman's mind to say, I'm right, he's wrong. I mean, I'm talking about a grip. And so when you start to say, okay, who am I without that thought? Let me explore the possibility that no one is wrong, and then there's something else there. There's more there. And so going through that deep dive and allowing the divine eye to explore the inner workings of the choices I was making in relationships, I was able to say, okay, he ain't no F boy. He winging it like I am. I am not being direct. I am projecting what I wanted from my parents onto him. It was just like all of this stuff. It was ugly. It was ugly. And so I had to forgive and be grateful for what those men taught me. Because I remember recently, like in the past few months, I don't know when it was, I think it was probably like March. It was March. I remember waking up one morning crying because I was overwhelmed with gratitude. And I just started saying, I'm grateful for him. I just started saying their names, because I felt the reality that these men helped me always choose myself, like over and over again. Like I always kept going back, instead of becoming a bitter bitch, excuse my language. Instead of being a victim, I was just like, how do I know what else is here? How do I heal? So every time I got closer and closer to myself and loving myself, and I don't think I've arrived anywhere. It's just I'm still expanding in consciousness of, where my shit is and where my glory is. But that's essentially where that song came from. It's just my poor choices and my growth and self-awareness, And I wanted to give something to women, because it was just like the story just became whack. It's just like, can't no find no good men. Da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying? It was just like everybody saying the same thing, but we at the end of the day love y'all, So it's like, let's figure out where we are accountable in the F boy philosophy. So
That's some G shit. Like
Real talk.
I didn't have anything
Listen.
for you for that. Like that's some G shit.
What they say, it's so cold in the D. 'Cause you G.
Thank you.
Listen, so like going deeper onto that one, right? Because it's like when you decided to pay attention to what was in the mirror the entire time, like that common denominator, you realized, honestly, life had sent you nothing but angels, quote unquote, using that term loosely, because your soul brings you here to help you remember whatever it is that you chose to come here for. You showed up. And it's a whole realization when you realize that you summon every single major situation, like outside of like a freak accident, right? You know what I'm saying? But like when it comes to relationships, like you summon that.
I know.
So like what did that process look like of like the uncovering of like what version of me decided that this is what we wanted? And then what was it about that version that kept choosing that reality?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, sometimes I'm like, what is it inside me that keeps, there's something inside me that keeps leading me. Because I'm telling you, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have did none of that. I wouldn't have did nothing. There was something more alive, more true that kept me choosing. Like, I mean, and I'm not saying every time I chose, but sometimes it took 5 rounds of the same situation with the same person to finally choose. You know what I'm saying? To make that choice. So, I mean, this is like a close to probably a 15, 20-year journey of, figuring it out, if you will. And I'm still learning,
Yeah.
But I will honestly say it has to be God. I would have to say divine, that which causes me to I don't even know how to put that in a sentence, but it's something else driving that desire and that will to choose my healing and expansion, to look at myself, to have that courage to really look at myself. Because I'm like, I don't know nobody in my family that's doing this. Why am I like this? But all I do is humble myself and just say, thank you, Most High. Thank you.
You know what, man,
What's
Tony? For me, that's discernment. That's the difference between discernment and intuition. Intuition is seeing what's going to happen, right? So then you can experience it. You can kind of feel your way all the way through it, and it gives you this picture in your mind, so to speak.
Yeah.
Discernment is a knowing. You don't need to know why. Sometimes you don't even need to know when or how, but you just
Okay.
know it. And so the feeling, the reality gets processed first because you don't see it yet.
Mm-hmm.
You just know it.
Yeah.
And for me, that was what it was in that time period where like I moved from the F boy energy into like, oh, this is my fault.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's a large part of the conversation that goes untalked about is what creates a F boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we just popped up one day and we're like this.
We want to say words because those could be very triggering words for women, and it can enable certain type of behaviors and conversations of men who don't understand women taking accountability. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think it's more so not anyone's fault. I think it's just accountability. Like, what is your part? You know what I'm saying? No one's here to blame. No one's here to be crucified. But it's just like, what is my part? What is my accountability?
Yeah.
We both got clothes on the floor.
Period.
Mine, some are yours.
That's it.
Period.
Which beautifully takes us over to Vitamin.
Yeah. I love that song. I love the words. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is if F boys are tools for enlightenment is a mirror, Vitamin is a throne. You can sit on it. It's comfortable. It is for you. You know it if you can find it. Like if you understand that part of yourself, that throne's already been there. It's kind of like your crown is already bought and paid for.
Yeah.
Like you hear that song and you immediately get reminded of who you are. Like you are in touch with your star player, so to speak.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of the song? Like what?
I like the chorus specifically because like it's melodic. I love melody. You know what I'm saying? And when you put it in a space of just voice as opposed to like deep singing type harmonies, and it's just like consistent. For me, it gets kind of sexual, and it's like I just imagine somebody. Listen, for me, it gets real sexual. Like
Look,
I imagine somebody.
One of the things you're trying to sit on in the song, bro. Like the vibes.
I imagine somebody sitting on me whispering that into my ear. Like it'd be like, oh hell yeah. Just looking at it and be like, you goddamn right. Like absolutely. But that's me.
Got it.
I like the wordplay. It's you definitely there's the lyricist in there, like for you specifically, like even down to the title. And then of course, like being a Lupe Fiasco fan, I always appreciate any artist that can pull off a good like double, triple, quadruple entendre here.
Yeah.
And so it's the idea of like divinity in and of itself is healing. Love is medicine. And that's at the core of all of this. And so like for me as someone who who prides themselves on providing some aspect of nourishment as often as is possible
Yeah.
to those that I care about. It was cool to have that energy sort of like seen and acknowledged and explained by a woman in a way that is equal parts. I see what is, but also, yes, like I do have my ideals, but I'm not infringing them. I'm actually acknowledging what you are. I imagine it's probably like, I don't know if anybody listens to John Mayer and I'm about to get corny, but like I remember the first time having a conversation with this girl in high school about how she felt the first time she listened to John Mayer's Your Body is a Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, somebody gets it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
are paying attention. Like that's how I felt when I listened to Vitamin.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. I'm always like touched when I hear men say that they like that song, because that song is definitely a graduation from F Boys, Our Tools of Alignment. It's like, let's recognize our accountability, but now let's put the accountability into practice, change the conversation, change what we say. If we have, it's no good men in my city on a loop, like,
So you ain't gonna be no good men in your city.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you're going to constantly get evidence of that experience and that declaration that you have on a loop. So how do you switch that up when you have all this evidence that says there's no good men in my city?
You find what you see.
How do you switch? You don't say the opposite is not there's good men in my city, because you don't believe that. You haven't experienced that. But what you can say is I'm open to exploring the truth, a higher truth of my experience with men in my city. You know what I'm saying? That opens up space for integrity, because you're in integrity with what your desire is, but you're also in integrity with where you're at in your belief process of experiencing a more positive dating or love life or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted Vitamin to be something that women can have on repeat, but I also wanted men to hear that they're seen and that they're heard. And I understand what we taking y'all through. Just hold tight. I'm raising these women. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
We all got our work cut out for us, don't it?
Listen, Toni out here doing God's work.
On this day and every day hereafter.
Yeah. So before we have to let you go, because we are coming close to our time here, I wanted to ask you if if Vitamin is the graduation, what's the career? Like, what is the next song that brings this all together? Is it the union? Is there an affirmation music coming about union coming up? Oh no, I'm gonna throw it out there.
It's interesting because I do have something coming up, and I hope it makes this project that I'm working on. But yes, it is union. It is union. It is sex. It is unapologetic statements around sex, pleasure, and union. And really, it's like taking a stance. Like, this whole human family came about from the biology of a man and a woman. We have a poor reputation in society, the man and woman dynamic. We need to take a stand for it, because this is how we survive. This is how we thrive. You know what I'm saying? This is the paradigm that all of life comes from in the human family. So we have to have a new song, a new conversation about us. We did toxic masculinity. We didn't talked about women. We didn't talked about that. Let's start saying something that's healthier, that's more vibrant and more aligned with our secret hidden heart desires and what we're really yearning for. So it's definitely about union. It's definitely about intimacy and all that juicy stuff. So,
all right.
Man.
Look at y'all faces.
What else is there? What else is there? You got something else? I have nothing.
Yeah, and at this point, it's like, it's like they say, I hate to see you go, but I love to watch you leave.
Amen.
Like, I don't want you to leave right now. I just kind of just like want to sit here and listen to you talk a little bit more.
Like, we got ginger beer. I got a whole
right.
We can do something with something.
You got this thing on lock for
what shows you like to watch?
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for the love, y'all.
Appreciate it. Yes, everybody. Ooh, you getting big love tonight, Tony.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's so much honey flowing your way.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank
Well,
you.
ladies and gentlemen, we are coming close to that time, so we have to let our guests get back to work or play, whichever one you're about to get into. But Toni Jones, love, I appreciate you for coming through. Thank you.
Thank you, fellas, for connecting with your audience and your platform. This was dope.
Awesome. Is there anything you would like to leave the people with before?
Yeah. How do they find you? What are you doing? How do they support you? How do we support you?
Yeah.
So I have an Instagram. I am Toni Jones. That's Toni with an I. I do have a YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe to that. It's Toni Jones. And so there's some fun things coming up. So turn on notifications when you follow me on Instagram. But I like to just kind of direct everybody to the YouTube and the Instagram to stay updated for now. But yeah, my website is iamtonijones.com. So
Ta-da, all the way. Y'all heard it. Y'all got it.
It's on the way. New music on the way.
New music.
Harmonious Union on the way. Got it.
There it is.
Zaki, was it Zaki who used to do the thing in an organization we saw? Or he used to be like, what's the DJ thing? Boop, boop, boop. Like, what is
Oh.
He used to do that. Zaki? Was it Zaki?
It was one of them. It was either Zaki or Divine because they was both on the turntables.
That's it. Yeah.
That sounds like a Divine move, to be honest.
That's definitely a Divine move.
Sounds like Divine all day.
Oh, man. But thank you, Toni. We appreciate your love. We will see you soon.
Love you guys.
Love you back. But
I feel like we ain't have to do no work today.
We really didn't. I feel seen, loved, heard, and appreciated.
All the way through, man.
What you mean?
Oh, boy. So let's go ahead and run through these things real quick. So first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed it in the beginning, this entire episode featuring Toni Jones was all about our very first feature in our Am I My Sister's Keeper series. Each week of this month, we're going to come with a different phenomenal woman to feature to y'all in terms of just what they're doing, what's going on in their lives, what their platforms are, and pretty much making our platform the container to let their platform grow a little bit. So that's why we here this whole week. Let's see. What else we got, brother?
The only thing that's missing is you, the viewer. Like, leave comments on the YouTube. Hit that subscribe, mostly so you get the notifications. Newsflash, we do this every Tuesday at 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. But join the Divine Masculine Activated group for the fellas. Slide through that Mastermind Connect website. Check it out. See how you like it. It's really nice there. We're really cool guys. But above all, I think pivoting onto the larger scale, like, let's get into these gratitudes, attitudes, and latitudes.
Ooh, it's about that time. So first and foremost, starting out with the gratitude, always got to go take it to the queen first. Check out all of Toni's affirmation music, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. You can find all 3 of her albums that are out now and be ready for when she drops the next new piece of music. Make sure y'all holler at our homie Toni. Next up, attitude for this week. This one is for the brothers.
Facts.
Slow the fuck down. All right. What's going on this month, JD? It was something that you had said the other day that we wanted to highlight.
Number one, May is Mental Health Month. And then take it to the next level, May is also apparently National Stroke Month. Ooh. Not that stroke, the bad kind. That's February. So strokes are apparent, and I just found this out. So stroke is the 5th leading cause of death in men. So it kills almost the same number of men as prostate cancer and Alzheimer's combined.
Ooh.
Facts.
Wow.
And
That's
they're also
crazy,
the leading cause of long-term disability, fool. It's crazy.
So brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Did you say what you were going to say?
It's bad. But no, brothers, this week, for real, take some time to slow the fuck down. Pause, breathe, be patient. Get you some books on Tantra like we talked about last week so you can slow yourself down and get into your groove. It is what it is. Last but certainly not least, this week's latitude, coming from the good sister Toni Jones. Authenticity is an inside job. If you want to find everything that is authentic about you, don't look out there. Wait, don't look out there. Look in here. With that being said, I think we're done. We got anything else we need to cover?
We done and we finished.
Everybody chill, everybody down. We love y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for coming through to another week of Divine Masculine Activated. We will see you next Tuesday with our special guest, the incomparable, the goddess of Black Girl Ventures, CEO extraordinaire, Nike featured campaign at the Super Bowl, having all-star game commercial with KD making. Shelly Bell from Black Girl Ventures will be here next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. We hope y'all make it out to see. Come check us.
That part.
Peace and love.